I don't know if you remember the commercials. They were on a few years back. It was from I think, the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America, and they were trying to encourage people to volunteer to serve as a big brother or a big sister. And the message that they were trying to get across was, you don't have to be, overly skilled. And yet these commercials, it was almost comical, because they seemed to show these people and highlighting them in terms of their ineptitude, in terms of the things that they couldn't do. But their message was, as long as you are willing to care, as long as you are willing to love and dedicate, that's all that matters. You can be a big brother or a big sister. And I've looked at that, and I thought, how much that ties in with both Isaiah in the first reading and then Peter in the gospel. Because in both cases, Jesus says, in essence, so what? Isaiah, well, I can't proclaim your word, Lord. I'm, unclean mouth. And God says to him, so what? I can deal with that. According to the story, touched his lips with the burning ember. And then he volunteered to go off and proclaim the word. Peter fell on his feet in front of Jesus and says, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." Jesus looked at him and said, so what? Can we believe that God deals with us that way? I hope so. Because our calling, each of us, is to be the hands, the feet, the eyes, the mouth, the heart of Christ. He continues his caring, his healing work through our efforts. And there are some Christians who think, well, you have to be just so perfect if you are going to represent God, if you are going to speak the message and be prophetic, if you are going to prove that you are a person of God, and therefore you are worthy and you are qualified. Today's readings seem to say otherwise. They speak to us, what we might call ordinary, everyday schlubs. I love that word. I don't know how many of you. The contemporary spiritual author, Henri Nouwen, he put it really well. One of the books he wrote was called The Wounded Healer. And in the book he says, that's what we are called to be. We are wounded, we are imperfect, all of us, but nevertheless, we can and need to be healers. Nouwen wrote, when we honestly ask ourselves which persons in our lives mean the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving much advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a gentle and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and who face with us the reality of our own powerlessness. That is the friend who cares. To really care, it's not so much a matter of what we do or what we say. Hopefully, when you have had friends, family members, acquaintances, whatever, who have lost a loved one, especially if maybe the death was sudden or unexpected, hopefully you have come to the realization that there's nothing you can say that will make it better. And most of the things that we try to say, when you step back and look at them, they're really stupid. And we do it more because of our discomfort than to really reach out to them. But if we can just be there with them, let them know we care. We don't have to do, we just have to be. By the honest recognition and confession of our human sameness, we can participate in the care of God who came not to the powerful, but the powerless. Not to be different, but the same. Not to take our pain away, but to share it. How about that? Christ came not to take our pain away, but to share it. And if we can't take away somebody's pain, which we can't just about all the time, to be Christ-like means that we will be there with them, we will be there for them to share it. We won't worry about limitations. I'm not qualified. God showed us with Peter. God showed us with Isaiah. I don't have limitations. I can work with you if you'll let me. If you're open. If you're willing to be my hands, my feet, my mouth. I will work with you. I will work through you. And most importantly, to remember that's what we're called to. Regardless of whether we make an impact or not, regardless of the reaction of others, we're called to care, to be with. Many of you may be very familiar with this. It's been credited or attributed to Mother Teresa. It's called Anyway. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies.
succeed anyway.
If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous, but be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten, but do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never just between you and them anyway. Lord, I am not worthy. The Lord says, so what?